22nd of January 2009, Thursday morning. I'm just about to have breakfast. This is melon. Right, turn back off.
Part of the whole awards season that we're in
Good
the moment.
news.
Tom Laws from the Electric Cinema. Morning, Tom. Good morning. How are you? I'm very, very well. This is kind of like my favourite subject. So I'm glad to have you part of this. It's already started off a bit of a meaty one. Worst films ever. Films that you've fallen asleep in. Films you've walked out of, Tom. I bet there's been a few for you, haven't there? Yeah, there certainly have. Last year doing reviews for Drive Time, the film that I remember actually walking out of, I think the only one that actually walked out was yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I found that absolutely appalling. I have to say it's largely because the actress Maria Bello, who's normally quite a decent American actress, but she puts on a ridiculously clipped English accent. Do you remember? And it wasn't great. It wasn't. You know, I wrote in my original notes here. I said I described it as hammier than the piece of ham in Hampshire. And let me just read a couple of texts there. Get a reaction to these. Steve the Leveller says, I'm amazed. My mate slept through the Who film, Tommy. Probably one of the loudest films ever. How do you sleep through that? I mean, I just don't know. The films are, interestingly, one of the worst films ever. In fact, on the Internet Movie Database, it's voted as the worst film ever. No. It's After Movie, and it's out this week on DVD. Oh, really? Yeah. Other interesting ones came across was the Tony Blair Witch Project. The Tony Blair Witch Project? The Tony Blair Witch Project. The tagline is the most important documentary ever. And it's about a British film politicians who made shopping to the wilderness in search of the Tony Blair Witch. I like that. Also, the Hoppy and the Notty, which I know has been nominated for a Razzie or is up for potentially for a Razzie. Yeah. Harry Hilton's film from last year. Oh yeah, right. Okay. It's so bad in the film that it's actually difficult to try and find one to go and see it. And other things came out on my own film called well, the first film I ever made.
Violating me mentally, physically. Past reactions, jerking reactions, you can see there's expression wise on my face is not being allowed to be normal. I'm having tin laughter, or laughter in general, paused hypersonically. They take away the emphasis that we could place on the word Nazis. And even though they do that to me, taking away the power of it, they force in an overtone of comic overtone to it. And frankly, what they do means nothing. They can't take away the power of such a word. What it means is they are. It's still there. No matter what they do to my mind like that, it's still there. Still means the murderers, family murderers, routinely abusing and violating people's minds and bodies. Murderers.
In Cannes in 2000, and all the cast and crew were there. It was a huge, glamorous premiere, but it was on quite late, and Cannes people tend to stay drinking, and I just completely fell asleep and woke up, and someone had actually lent me a suit, and I slightly kiddled on the shoulder of the suit. Embarrassingly enough. Not good, not good. Tom, appreciate it. Thanks very much, mate. Okay, thank you, mate. Tom Laws from Birmingham's Electric Cinema, regular reviewer, of course, on Frankie's Drive Time Show, all that's hot and what's not. In the movies, your calls and text, got loads of these ready to get through this morning, so we'll get stuck into those in just a second.
BBC WM, travel you can trust.
Worst movie you've ever seen, movies you've fallen asleep in, 08453 000956 on the phone. Travel first with Kate.
Apart from the violent assaults, there's also the synchronising. When you're cleaning yourself, when you're
carriageway on the M5 southbound.
when you're going to the toilet.
Northbound, M5 southbound itself anyway. Problems.
Notice the expressions they are forcing you.
It's just heavy traffic. You can't find any other reason why it should be that heavy. No, your accident at junction 5, the Droitwich turn. It's actually right by. I'm looking at it now. It was right by the Droitwich.
You're Nazis.
There's now flashing lights about 100 yards down. Where
Really doesn't matter what you think. You're just Nazis. Quite seriously. You're just Nazis. Another thing they don't like is when you show you're eating properly. And for anybody who thinks of, I don't want to sound crap, but for anybody who eats in a conventional manner, let's say, it's maybe a good idea to get books like that. And that. Try to get some older ones as well, because they can tell you more from a time when they weren't being so censored, when they weren't being so filled with misinformation. You do need more than one or two, because it gives you a better idea of what's real and what isn't. Now, one thing I've noticed is they tend to big up a lot, some products, either one or two products, or maybe more than that. And of course, it doesn't actually mean that it is as good as they're trying to make out. But it does give you a better idea of what goes on and what your body needs. It's great for that. It's absolutely great. Oriental diagnosis is a great way to find out how you're lacking, how your body is lacking in anything that you obviously would need. It is really, really interesting stuff. I hope all my mates are well. Just never forget, it's not you in the wrong. It's not you who've ever murdered. It's not you who've ever abused, beaten. It's not you that have ever been the depraved or been the sexually deviant monsters who sit at the other end of a computer and try to tell themselves that it's just because they don't feel any pleasure from what they do when they commit a sexual act on another person, as in raping them, as in abusing them, and getting a third party to actually physically do that to them. It removes them from that. Apparently, it removes them from that action. It doesn't. It makes them paedophiles. It makes them rapists, serial rapists, routinely, every single day. It makes them. They are worse. They are worse than that word could ever mean. Nazis. Nazis doesn't describe what they actually do, what these people actually do, to the routine daily way that they do it. And it's just not there to see. And they actually have the tools which take away the power of it, which make it into not such a big thing, make it into a smaller thing, which is in the background and happening elsewhere to people. It's not happening to the person that they're using these tools on as much as it just makes it less psychologically impacting on them. They take away the impotence of it, and that's what these tools are used for as well. Right, it probably sounds convoluted, I know that. It's what they do. You know it, I know it. Monsters, absolute monsters.